RTR 2020, the best or bust? What is up, blind viewers? All right, everybody's talking about the RTR, the numbers, the people that were there, blah, 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 and all this other stuff. Well, I thought it was time for me to get on here. So my 2 cents in. Why not? Everybody else did. So it's my turn. Now, the RTR 2020. Here's the deal. All that this did was prove my theory the whole time. People weren't going to the RTR, the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, to go see Bob and rub elbows with Bob and hear Bob's words of wisdom. Everybody went to the RTR to meet up, gather, all hang out as a group of nomads, meet people that were their friends, make new friends, and hang out as a collective. It really had nothing to do with Bob and his seminars. Now, before you get all up in arms and start yelling and screaming, no, well, hear me out. Just all you have to do is watch the videos. It speaks for itself. Okay? The party-R. That's right, the party-R. Everybody that would have normally been at the RTR wasn't. Where were they? They were in their own little camp, and they called it the party-R. Now, if all those folks would have been at the RTR, you would have seen the same numbers and it would look pretty much the same. But since it was all split up and it was at the little fairground and all other happy horse shit, yeah, the numbers were down. And here's another thing about the RTR. There was a giant influx of everybody running to do this nomad life. People were buying vans and RVs and living in their cars and doing all kinds of crazy madness. And it was just a big push, and it was just the latest craze, the fad. It was the happening thing. It's what all the cool kids were doing. So yeah, Bob was the thing, because Bob stood up and said, hey, I know all you women, you're not going to be able to get a job. You're not going to be able to afford any place to live. So you just go move into your car, come to good old Bob, and I will show you how to do everything you need to live out here in the desert on your own. So yeah, if you're new, going to the RTR, listening to the seminars, seeing the little talks about this and that and the other thing, and we're going to the women's RTR and hanging out in a big gaggle of females. Okay, that's cool if you're new. But these folks that I've been watching for 3-4 years, they don't need to go see Bob. I could probably ask Chrome, for example, from Van City Van Life. I could probably ask him a question. Hey, how do you do this or that and that? And he would tell me. I could probably ask Eric, Nomadic Fanatic, in the comment section, hey, what's the best way to do this? And he could probably tell me. Badge doesn't need to go to the RTR. He doesn't need any information like that. So just about anybody that you watch on a regular basis, whether it be Aja to Nomadic Fanatic, even Mikey or Camper Van Kevin, I'm sure all those guys have enough knowledge, been doing it for long enough, that they know how to empty a tank, buy this, go that, where to get water, where to do this, where to do that. I'm sure they know all the little tricks and tips, where to get your mail, how to set up residence. I mean, just watch Nomadic Fanatics. He's done it a couple times already. So nobody really needs to go to see Bob in his seminars anymore, unless you're new. And again, that big giant influx of everybody doing this crazy latest fad, yeah, and I'll say it, fad, they are, those numbers are dwindling down. Now, sure, there are still some new people straggling in, but it wasn't that big whoosh, that big tidal wave, that tsunami, if you will, like it was a year or so ago. Now those new folks coming in, that number is dwindling down, so the need for that Bob information isn't there any longer. So again, if everybody that was at the party-R went to the RTR, it would still be a big giant group, because everybody goes to meet up in the desert and hang out together. not to go rub elbows with the Bob. Now, if you've noticed, lately I have not been talking a whole lot about the nomads, or the wheeled wonders as I call them. There's a reason for that. That's because, hey, I think the nomads need a few more gatherings to fill up the entire year. Now, it used to be around the first of the year, it was Rubber Tramp Rendezvous. It was the RTR time where everybody was looking forward to it. They were anxious and they all rushed to the desert and they all hung out in a big clump at the RTR. Thousands of people from all over the place went to the RTR. Well, now it's just like, I don't know what, it starts in October and ends in June. It's like swarms of locusts. You know, sure, you had your little groups or tribes or whatever that, you know, traveled together, 4 or 5 or whatever, and they kind of hung out and camped and everything. And then every once in a while, someone would come in, like a blue Van Dam would pop in and then go back out. But then that little core group would kind of travel around, Wandering Jimmy would pop in and stay for a while and travel with them. Then he'd take off and all that good stuff like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the swarm of thousands that go from this palooza to that palooza to that palooza to that palooza. And then it's the van build, and then the Dome Rock gathering, and then Schoolie Palooza, and the Van Palooza, and this Palooza, and then the women's RTR, and the RTR, and the PARTR, and it's just this big swarm of thousands that boom, 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 boom. They just move around from Quartzsite to Ehrenberg to this place to that place to this place to that place, and it's just this big giant clump of wheeled wonders. Now, I've been talking to a couple folks, and some of them were like, yeah, I went, I saw, I left. Other people told me the same thing. It's like, hey, giant desert, but they're parked like they're parked in a parking lot. They're right next to each other. You can open your door, lean out a little bit, and touch the RV next to you. Yeah, they're packed in like sardines. And then if you go in town to do anything, someone told me there was a 6-hour wait in the line to dump your shit tanks. Yeah, 6-hour wait. Traffic is atrocious. People are everywhere. Now, this is all coming from the folks that get on and tell us, sticks and bricks, you people are stupid, quit your job, sell everything, come on out here, get away from everybody, get away from everything. Just like Bob says, don't worry about the government and getting all involved in all that. Get away from everything and come live in a clump where there's RVs that are 2 feet apart everywhere you go, and then travel in a big swarm of thousands from this group to that group to this group. And every night is karaoke night. It's just a party on wheels. It's a big traveling, rolling caravan of fun. Now, is there anything wrong with that? No, if that's what you're into. But if that's what you're into, don't come out here and tell us that are sitting here in our homes, on our couches, watching TV and flushing toilets and taking 20-minute showers if we want to. Don't tell us we're stupid. And don't tell us, oh, if you don't like your neighbor, you can just leave. And I don't want to be packed in like in row homes. But then you go to this ginormous desert and you park up each other's asses. Oh, but we can move if we want to. Yeah, you always say that. But do you ever really move? Well, no, because I got to take down all this stuff. I got to put it away. I got a lot of cupboards. I got to go in and take up jack stands, put in my slides. I got to hook up. I got to move. It's just such a hassle. So rather than do all that, you just stick your camera out the window and you point next door and you go, look at this asshole. There was all this room and they had to park here, didn't they? Blah, 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 blah. And you bitch and you bitch and you bitch. But do you ever move? No. You say you can. You brag that you can, but you never really do. Now, again, the point of this is not to be belittling or saying, oh, you guys are stupid or wrong. No, hey, it's awesome. If you have that giant sense of community, that's cool as shit. You get to hang out with a bunch of people, like-minded people, all doing the same thing. Hey, and if every night's karaoke night, can't beat that. I wouldn't mind having karaoke and an open bar and big buffets every night. But if I was doing that, I wouldn't say, oh, I like the solitude and the peace and the quiet and the ability to move wherever I want, and I don't have to deal with all the traffic and all the people and all the big cities. But yet you travel in a group of 1,000 the size of a small city, like a swarm of locusts from one spot in the desert to another spot in the desert, and you park on top of each other, and it's just like living in a city, in my opinion. Again, nothing wrong with it, but it's just the way you convey things sometimes. So that's why I haven't been really watching or talking about the Wheeled Wonders too often, because, again, now it's not just 4 or 5 people going, hey, we're sitting around the campfire. And then the next day, it's the other person's view of the person that I watched yesterday. And then a couple hours later, it's another person, same conversation, same setting, same exact thing, just 5 different things. Well, now it's 1,000 or 2,000 videos of just different people shooting the same thing, the same spot at the same time. So, yeah, it really wasn't a whole lot to watch when everybody's all in one spot. So, the RTR, I don't know. I think that its necessity or its reason is slowly going downhill. Everybody doesn't need to know all these little tips and tricks of how to get your mail and where do you do this and where you do that. That number of people that need that knowledge is getting smaller and smaller, and they can find it anywhere, on YouTube or anywhere. I mean, how many videos have you seen on how to shit in a bucket, how to dump it, and how to do that? So you don't need to go rub elbows with Bob and have Bob and his little minions look at you funny if you say their name or you pull out a camera. He's not ready to, send in the drones for a drone strike because he's the only one allowed to film the Bob. So nobody needs to do that shit anymore. So the RTR, in my opinion, is going down. Now, these big party R things and all these other gatherings and this Palooza and that Palooza and the other Palooza and the 45 Paloozas that are just popping up everywhere, I think they'll take the RTR's place. And soon, Rubber Tramp Rendezvous will be just another big clump of people in the desert mixed amongst all the other gatherings that are popping up like daisies everywhere.
Fluffy, get back here. Oh, hey. This is BlindViews, and that's the way I see it. Now, Fluffy,
What we do here is go back.